What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter. Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. Power line today is kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg. I'm joined today with Albrey Grimsley. How you doing today, Albrey?
Always a great day to have a great day. Happy Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. So for those of you in the audience who have never seen a chance encounter before, what I do is I interview commercial real estate investors. I find out which of the 5 motivations that I've found for people wanting to pick up their next commercial real estate deal, which one applies to them most closely. And then I go through the 6 different roles in a commercial deal, and I say which one is your core competency that you'd be most likely to take up in the next commercial deal. But the first thing that I like to do is I like to have the guests introduce themselves. So Albrey, can you introduce yourself for the audience, please?
Absolutely. My name is Albrey. I'm the co-founder and managing partner at New Paradigm Capital, which is a privately held multifamily investment firm. We primarily look in the Florida, Georgia, Texas areas. When I'm not doing that, I have a nonprofit with a couple of business partners. One, we started a college private school for the local college, and the goal is to have incoming high school freshmen graduate with a 4-year high school degree and then leave college with a 2-year degree, not going to college, still trying to figure out what they want to do their junior year. They already know how to do it, who can help them do it, and more importantly, they're starting their entrepreneurial journeys before they actually reach college. We can eliminate student loan debt.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a really, really great cause. I like that. So, but that brings me to our first segment here, which is motivation. Okay, so I have why do you want part of an apartment complex? I've got the different roles down there, but that's not important. Usually beginners don't know what their role is going to be, but they know their motivation. So I'll go through those first. The first one is more for family offices, people who make their wealth provide their income. So if that's the case, like the REITs, real estate investment trusts, they're constantly making acquisitions because they have to compensate for inflation, or else the party's over. So that's the first motivation that some people have. The next one's my one, which is that as somebody in tech, I have the option of getting a high salary, but if I'm looking to accumulate wealth, then I have to pay income tax before I can dump it in there. So it makes a lot more sense to be on the ground floor and then get paid for my time and effort in the form of wealth. But the next one is the most common one. People want to fast track their retirement. Of course, part of that means that you've already started, because like fast tracking your retirement doesn't count if you're like 21 years old and you haven't had any time in the workforce or anything. But the more important one is that when you're talking about retirement, then there's an end goal in mind. You're not just going to become an accredited investor and just be like, all right, well, that's enough, and then move to a forest or the Philippines or something. But the next group, they're so ambitious, they want to buy their entire hometown. They're never going to stop hustling. And so if you are looking to get a portfolio that grows and grows and grows, you're going to have some people on the team who are that level of ambitious. But the next one, and it sounds like that's something that is big for you, is some people have a sector of society, or sometimes it's animals or something like that, that they want to support. And of course, the more wealth you accumulate, the more difference you can actually make and impact into that sector of society. So some people just want to help people or help a sector of society or animals or something, and that's why they want to increase their wealth. So out of those 5, what describes your situation or resonates with you best, Albrey, or what combination of them?
I definitely want to give back. I have a motto: learn, earn, return. Success is a habit, not a goal, therefore it's a choice. So I choose to connect with like-minded individuals so we can help other individuals and educate them on their journeys. And oftentimes it starts with the core of who we are. As far as kids, they're impressionable. They want to know more. They want to do more. However, you have to have the right individuals around them to allow them to do those things. So that's why in the investing world, it allows me to learn, earn, and continuously return. And then we return and show those things, whether it's through the game of cash flow, whether it's through, putting, investors in front of them in different asset classes to where they can see that you can't own an apartment building, you can't own a storage facility, you can't own a mobile home park. If you choose to, it's all about your mindset. And you have to be willing to change your mindset. And I think the distance between failure and success is discipline. If you're disciplined and you're committed to those goals and you set goals, you will achieve them. You just have to surround yourself with the right individuals.
That's beautiful. And part of surrounding yourself with the right individuals is knowing the different roles and how everybody can fit together in a different team. So that brings us to the next segment. So just for those of you in the audience who don't have the experience, let's go through the 6 different roles. So repositioner is the first one. Okay, you can see I've got a couple different properties right there. And that's part of what a repositioner does, is looks at a bunch of different properties. They do the underwriting. In other words, they do the math and they say, okay, which ones of these deals actually work out? Which one has some realistic upside? And how do you get upside? Well, there are 2 different easy ways to get upside. One is through more efficient operations. You see the money going down the toilet because that's how expenses work. It's gone. And if you lower the amount of expenses, then the property value goes way up. It's not so like most people think it's like, it's just like $1.50 or something you're saving. It's like, but it literally can be like 50,000 times the impact on the investment. So like saving that little itty bitty amount of money can be like a 10,000 times wealth increase just by reducing them. But the other reason why I've got the Benjamins going down the toilet there is to know that the money side, the marketing side, these are all parts of operations. So somebody has to be there making sure that the vacancy rate is low, for example. So efficient operations, great marketing, that's one way to get upside. Oftentimes that's not enough. So frequently they'll end up getting a contractor team in there to make the place nicer. That way they can charge more in rent. So then the property makes more money for all of the investors, everybody who's involved. But if you are a repositioner like me and you are from the internet, then you've got a problem because you can't be there in an hour. So you're going to need a local. You're going to need the boots on the ground so that they can keep an eye on the operations, making sure that they're actually doing their job, and also keep an eye on the contracting team to make sure that they're finishing on schedule, they're not cutting corners, all that sort of stuff. But that's usually what people think of when they're talking about running an apartment complex. But if you're in the acquisitions phase, you're also going to need to go to the bank and you're going to have to say, hey, I want to buy this property. It's worth millions or tens of millions of dollars or who knows. So please lend me a big fat stack of cash. And then the financiers will end up saying, well, who's your sponsor though? And the sponsor is someone who already owns a similar asset. So if you want to buy a 350 unit apartment complex and get a loan, you have to have somebody in the fold who already owns a 350 unit apartment complex. And through the team, you have to have the net worth of at least the value of the loan. That's a big surprise to a lot of beginners, but those are the 6 different roles in a commercial deal. So your core competencies, or the parts that you'd be contributing in your next commercial deal, which one of those or what combination is the best description of you?
Asset manager and sponsor.
Okay,
We
excellent.
are always looking to connect with phenomenal individuals and let them be phenomenal. We just like to add to their team and what makes them be the best version of them. So ultimately, if that deal makes sense, we want to execute that business plan and that performance to where that our partners, which are the investors, receive anything that we told them that projections we would make sure that they receive.
Right, excellent. And you're clearly all about helping people. And I know that, like I mentioned, financiers as being the bank. Sometimes that's the capital raisers as well. Which the law, just for you in the audience to be clear, you can't just be a capital raiser and be on the GP team. That's actually illegal. So you have to be able to substitute in and help out in another regard as well if you want to be a GP. But the reason I bring that up is because I always ask my guests, who in real estate can you help more than anybody else? But I need to emphasize that you can't entice investors because that's against SEC rules. So can you please describe the person that you can help in real estate more than anybody else?
I always say
So like,
oftentimes you
like
find
maybe
yourself.
Yeah, a lot of the time it's a beginner, and they want to know more about like the acquisition side and like how to get into deals.
Absolutely.
That's what you described earlier.
Yes.
Or maybe it's operators that you need to deploy your the
It's
capital.
a little bit of both. Um, the underwriting stage, that's a lot of numbers.
Mhm.
Just because you like math doesn't mean you like underwriting. Just doesn't mean you like sitting there for a period of time. Underwriting is more than just making numbers make sense. Those numbers can make sense, but are you looking at the correct comps? Are you just going off of the OM? Are you looking at the MSA? So it drills in and dials in even more. But I think it's important how you learn is everything, because most individuals, prime example, that don't.
Uh-oh. The internet just choked. No. Ah. This is making me sad. Come on, Zoom, don't be like that. Shit. All right. Well, I guess I gotta stop it. All right, we'll stop right there. Okay, well, I guess I can edit into this part. So we just lost. Yeah. Oh, are you back? There you go. You're back. Cool. We're still recording. So yeah, you were talking about who you can help.
No, we can help the new beginners, the ones that are experienced as well, because I'm a firm believer in every deal is a new deal. You learn something regarding every acquisition that you go through, whether it's in the beginning, whether it's full term, and more importantly, once you close on a deal, that's great. However, it's just starting. You have to execute a business plan, a pro forma, and every projections that you told those investors, you have to make sure you meet those projections. So it's great to close. At the same time, you have to execute with those business plans.
That's beautiful. And you mentioned the geographic areas that you focus in, but as far as the unit counts, like what's your ideal property or your sweet spot where it's much easier for you to say yes to that property than another kind of property?
A sweet spot would be, I would say, 70 to 150. However, we have gone up to as much as 470.
Hmm.
So we're open as long as it makes sense in the team, because ultimately you're going into a long partnership. When you're talking about a potential 3 to 5, maybe even 7 to 10 year hold, depending on your exit strategy or your business plan just in general. And you want to make sure that business plan is flexible for all parties involved, particularly primarily your investors, which are your partners, your true partners. So ultimately that's our sweet spot, but we are open to upwards to 200 to 300 units with the
Great,
team that we
excellent.
have in place.
Excellent. So, for those of you in the audience who know Albrey and you don't know me, my background is in e-commerce technology and mass marketing, which means it's lead capture, lead generation, and online sales funnel creation. And the way that that brings me into the co-GP situation is I'm streamlining the repositioner role of acquisition. So basically the underwriting, it flags the appropriate properties first, things like that. And then same with automating different things inside operations. But of course, everybody is sourcing capital and deals as well to stay in this game. But you and I met through LinkedIn, indirectly through the meetups that I found through there. What's the best way to reach out to you, Albrey?
You can reach me primarily on LinkedIn. I'm not a huge social media individual. A large part of that started with the challenge. So you can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Albrey, Albreg on LinkedIn. And I would love to connect with phenomenal individuals. So feel
Excellent.
free to connect with me.
Excellent, excellent. So that's definitely the way to reach out. Now, one other thing for you in the audience there, in the camera thing there, is if you look under my hand over here, you'll probably see a red button that says subscribe, and that makes me sad. So please click on that button to turn it gray, because that does not make me sad, because that means that YouTube pays for these videos instead of me, which is way, way, way better. It doesn't cost you anything, and it means that my videos might show up in your list of suggestions, and there's no guarantee of that at all, but it doesn't cost you anything, and you don't want me to be sad, right? So come on, hit the subscribe button.
Absolutely. Because it's always a great day to have a great day.
Exactly. So thank you so much for joining me today, Aubrey. This has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks. All right, bye.
Thank you.